Right, it's wild to me that I've decided to create a whole episode about this, but we have to talk about K-pop demon hunters. I don't know how this directly relates to fertility yet, you guys, but there are not enough people in my immediate life and circle that I've been able to talk about this with yet. I know there are people in my world who are very much into it. And it's probably not for the reasons you think. Like, if you have not watched K-pop Demon Hunters yet, and you consider yourself to be a rather conscious person who cares about the world and its people and the outcomes, then I invite you to go watch this movie. It is on Netflix, and I am not a pop culture person. I could give two shits about what is happening with the vast majority of celebrities, musicians. I don't really have a whole lot of time to listen to pop music. I one of my husband's things is like, well, I don't like anime, and I was like, I don't really care for it either, or just care about it. But what happened a few weeks ago, I was in here in my little home office working, and my mom had picked up the kids and they were home and they'd done their homework. And she said, hey, Wyatt wants to watch K-pop Demon Hunters. Is that okay? She sent me a text. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a crazy name for something. I have no idea what it is, but just check the rating and maybe watch it with him in case it's weird. And I went out on my break to see what is this that we're talking about. Caught maybe 2 minutes of it and I was like, looks kind of weird, but benign, fine, whatever. And he kept wanting to watch this movie. This is my 5-year old. He kept wanting to watch this movie. So he'd probably watched it 3 times before I caught enough of a snippet of it to be like, huh, this might actually be okay. This might be good. Maybe I'll sit down and watch it with him. And it was because I was actually listening to the lyrics of one of the songs, Golden. And if you don't know this about me yet, I am fairly deep into the world of subconscious behavior and understanding how the subconscious works and how collectively we have been conditioned and programmed, and we carry these generational traumas. And so much of the deep work that I do with people who are struggling with fertility ends up being in the world of releasing generational patterns, creating boundaries, deciding how to show up authentically and in your power. So this is how I'm relating to K-pop Demon Hunters, is that the whole premise of this movie is finding your authentic voice, feeling safe to show up authentically, even when you have your history, your generational traumas, your wounds, your shame. And holy crap, I have watched this movie probably 4 times now, and I cry every time. And I am learning to understand more about what that's about as well, because I have gotten some side eyes in my household. Like, Mom, you've already seen this part. I'm like, yeah, but it gets me every time. And part of it, I think, is because I've recently, come off of this conference that I was at last month, where the whole theme of the conference was authenticity. This idea that authenticity has been shown to be the highest frequency of vibration when they've studied frequency in relation to emotions. And I've mentioned this on the podcast before, that there's no good, there's no bad emotion, but there is an energy behind it, right? It can either feel very regenerative to feel a certain way, or it can feel very depleting to feel a certain way. And when we are not attuned to our emotions, when we are unwilling to be with them or process them or feel them, and move through them, then, we tend to get stuck. We get stagnation. We can end up with some physical symptoms even. And so looking at the movie, there is a point of just, I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm like, how much do I go into it? If you have not seen it, I need you to stop the podcast now so that I don't ruin anything for you, and go watch it and then come back to this episode. If you've already seen it and you're kind of like, yeah, I don't know, I just didn't really get it, then like stay with me. And if you've seen it and you're like, yep, I get it and I'm all in, then like just message me in solidarity, please, because I need to talk about this with more people. So this is your last opportunity before I start talking about things that happen in the movie. When Rumi loses her voice, and she's got these literal patterns on her skin, and they're creeping up and they're creeping onto her throat in such a way that it's causing her to lose her voice. And of course, like, she's the star, right? If she can't sing, if she can't hit these high notes, then like, who is she? What is her identity? And how I'm relating to this is, how we show up. We've all got our patterns, right? We've all got our ways of being. We all have our conditioning that we fall into when, especially, life gets hard or life gets stressful. We have our old patterns that we fall back on. And by patterns, I mean, how do you cope when things get stressful? How do you relate to someone when they confront you about something? And there are these patterns that we as humans tend to have fallen into. So these patterns are finally creeping up in such a way where, like, she can't run away from it anymore. It is physically impacting her and how she's showing up in her work, and she can't run away from it. And a lot of times when people are coming to me, it is because they have hit such a hard wall in their life, not being able to get pregnant, not being able to stay pregnant. It's like, it is rocking their world in such a way where we can no longer deny those old patterns, and we have to look at it, and we have to see it differently, and we have to work through it. And that's how I was relating to this character. It's like, oh my God, this is all finally like creeping up in such a way where like she can't run from it anymore. I actually think the point at which I decided like this might be worth sitting down and watching the whole thing is when she and Ginu are having this interaction, realizing that like they're not so different from each other, even though he's this supposed demon with no soul who's trying to ruin the earth, and he's acting on behalf of this like great fire demon who I see as like the patriarchy. They see that they're actually not so different from each other, and they can't fix something if they're unwilling to face it. My mentor that I am doing this big money challenge with right now, this money mindset challenge, said in our day 3 money challenge, to the degree that I accept what is the degree to which I have the power to do something about it. And when these two characters are facing each other and realizing like we're not that different, and we have both been running from something and in denial of the truth of who we are and what these patterns have meant, and if we're not going to face it, we can't fix it. And this is something that has shown up over and over and over again in my life and in the lives of my patients, that if we continue to stay in resistance, in denial about what is happening, that takes our power away. When we are honest about what's happening, when we learn to accept what is right now, even if it's not something that we want. Like, I'm not saying that you have to want to struggle with fertility, but in this very moment, if that has been the lived reality, to be able to say, I accept this moment for what it is taking your power back. It's drawing a line in the sand and saying, you know what, all this energy that it was taking for me to deny this, I'm actually going to start to use to transform it. The other part of this movie that got to me so fucking deeply was at the end when Rumi comes out and she's like, yeah, you know what? Everything has to burn down so we can build it back better. And we're going to do that right now. And everyone comes together to sing together from their heart space in their authentic voices, and you see the hone moon just light up as it never has before, creating this barrier between, you know, the human world and the demon world, the good versus the evil. And when she starts singing this song at the end, I'm just saying like, hey, you know what? We're all cowards. We're all liars. We all have our stuff, but you know what? Like I'm tired. I can't take any more lies. Like this is who I am. I'm stepping into this authentically, and her voice is stronger than ever, and it wakes up the whole audience that had been like marching towards this zombie like path of being sucked into the demon world. I still can't believe I'm creating a podcast episode about this. If I released this and you're listening, you know I've either truly lost my mind or I've just stopped giving any fucks about what people think, which is a very powerful place to be. I invite you to it if you've never dabbled in it. Uh, it feels weird and good, but I think we need to be looking at what does that look like to show up authentically with our patterns, with our messiness, however that has manifested in your physical world, whether it means that you're struggling with fertility, whether it means you are in debt and feeling ashamed about it, whether your relationship is struggling, whether you feel like you're just so overwhelmed by the state of the world that you're not even sure you want to be a part of it or bring children into it. I think what is going to save us is all coming together to use our authentic voices. And K-pop Demon Hunters is probably going to have at least a small role in that, because when we speak the truth and when we believe in that truth, that has the power of awakening someone else's authenticity. And maybe this is naive, maybe this is delusional, but I truly want to see the good in all humans. Even though there are so many people out there, and even the powers that be right now, who do not appear to be acting in the best interest of humanity, I want to believe that there is good even in them. I know that if you are a listener here, that there is absolutely good in you. And I know that if you are the type of person who's been wondering, like, do I even want to bring a child into the world the way it is right now, that you are exactly the type of person who should be bringing children into the world, because you are conscious, because you are aware of the difficulties, and because you want there to be a better world and you're going to be a part of that. That is the exact reason why you should be one of the parents. I mean, no offense, but like if you are out there just gaslighting yourself into thinking like, no, things are fine. Like this is the way humanity is supposed to be going right now. Like, okay, I might not be the person for you. Just saying, like, obviously if you're on my calendar, I am putting all of my shit aside and I'm choosing to attend to each and every person with positive regard. But I think we're going to get a lot further when you can see that we're in a space of dismantling what is no longer working. When we can see our neighbor, no matter where they are from, as a reflection of ourselves and treat that human being the way we would want to be treated. If that's you, and if you've been feeling the strain around the direction of our world, our administration, what's going to happen with your own family unit, then it probably means we're going to be a good fit. And if you especially think that K-pop Demon Hunters is a really powerful metaphor for what's happening right now, then we can really get at this together. So please let me know if you've seen this movie and what your favorite song was. What moment made you cry? So the moment that makes me cry is when Rumi starts singing what it sounds like at the end, and specifically like when Mira and Zoe join in, and then when the crowd joins in, like, oh my God, like the frequency that they have hit with that song is so on point. And I've talked to so many empaths who are like, yep, that is the moment that like I get goosebumps and like I cannot help but be overwhelmed with emotion in a positive way, like feeling like this is healing. And if you think I'm nuts, but you like it, then you may enjoy learning more about how our voice is actually coming through. There is a woman who specializes in the psychology of the voice. Her name is Tracy Goodwin. I've been lucky enough to attend a couple of her live presentations and receive a one-on-one session with Tracy. So she studies the psychology of the voice and how the masks we wear subconsciously come through in our voice, and how even if someone else isn't consciously aware of your mask, so your mask being like perfectionism, people pleasing, etc., they're still subconsciously understanding that mask is up. So Tracy studies this and can hear it and helps people with the tools and the resourcing to lower the masks down. And so I was like, oh my God, was Tracy involved in writing this movie and writing these songs? Because like this is so on point with the work that she does. And no, there was no involvement there, but I think it is also just an example of like how across many collective spheres, we're seeing this waking up to authenticity being the highest frequency, one of the most important tools that we can be utilizing in our humanity right now. All right. I don't know where else I'm going with this because we could really go off in many different directions, many tangents. As I pull this back around to the fertility journey, number one, being able to just watch a movie for fun is really important. Not everything has to be about your fertility all the time, including this podcast. So if you choose to watch the movie, please have fun with it. I have several friends who are currently child-free who were like really surprised at how much they enjoyed this movie and how much they got from it. Number two, if you do find that you're at that place where your old patterns are showing up and the way you have operated up until this moment has gotten you to a certain degree of success in your career, in your relationships, but is not getting you the success that you want with your fertility, then it is time to look at those patterns and do something differently. And number 3, what would it feel like to show up more authentically? Knowing that authenticity is actually the highest vibrational frequency, and it just means saying what is true for you and believing in that truth. And I would add to that with kindness. Like maybe there are psychopaths out there who, believe something that is not in line with what most of us humans would be believing or whatever their truth is. But I have a feeling that those of you who are listening, what is true for you, what is true for your heart of heart and your heart's desires is what is best for you. And if you are true to what is best for you, that is likely also going to be best for humanity. So how can you show up more authentically? And what would that feel like? And what would that look like? And what resources do you require to support that? All right. Let me know if you watch this movie because I need to talk about it with more people. And thank you for enjoying this rather unhinged episode because I can't talk about it with my own husband because he thinks I'm crazy in a good way. I know he thinks it's adorable, but he's also like, I don't get it. I don't get it. So if you need to have a little Instagram voice note exchange about it, I'm all here for it. Sending you so much love as always. If you want to take a moment right now to pause, leave us a rating on your favorite listening platform. If you're listening on Apple and you can take 30 seconds to leave a review, it means the world to me. It makes sure that this podcast gets in front of more people and helps make the world a better, more authentic, safer place. So much love to you as always.